By now, you've got a GameObject class that's just a definition, and we haven't created any specific object for our game. In this video, we'll use our GameObject class to create a platform that the hero will stand on. Let's see how. Initially, you'll need a dedicated file for the logic and properties of the platform. So let's create a new file and name it rush-platform.js. Then define this platform object as a kind of game object by creating a GameObject instance on the platform prototype. We have two properties in the GameObject, category and dimension. Next, distinguish this GameObject as a platform category. We'll define the dimension of a platform, so let's set it in the initialize method with a width value as 120 and the height value as 12. These values are just an estimation, and you can adjust these values later when we put the game objects together. We'll then represent the platform with a rectangle shape. We'll add graphics to it later, but for now, let's have a simple shape. You'll be drawing a lot of rectangle shapes in this game, so it's good to place code that draws a common shape in a single place. Let's create a new file and name it rush-common-shapes.js. There's quite a bit of code. Let me walk you through it. First, we ensure that the global namespace rush is defined. Then we define a class method named rectangle. This method takes one object argument with the parameters to draw the shape. You'll need several parameters to draw a rectangle shape, including the width, height, stroke style, and fill color. It's tempting to define the parameters as function arguments. However, these arguments require the order of the parameters to match, and it's not easy to ignore some arguments in the middle. Hence, we'll not use that method. In our example, we'll take an object argument and correspondingly we'll get the stroke thickness, stroke color, fill color, X, Y, width and height parameters with a default value when the property is not defined by the object. We then have the shape drawing logic. This logic has the same code we used to draw the rectangle shape in the last game, the create.js shape. We set the stroke style if we need a stroke and also the filling option and draw rectangle. At last, the shape we drew is returned. We now want to use our drawing code. So let's draw a black rectangle to represent the platform inside the platform class. We call the rush.commonshapes.rectangle method along with the width and height. The default filling color is black and the stroke thickness is 0. Then add it to the platform container. Next, to make the width property a variable to pass a value to it on creation, let's add a width argument to the initialize method and constructor. Note that we keep the default value of the width as 120 if the width argument is missing on creation. Finally, we want to test our newly created platform class, so let's create a platform and put it on stage. Before testing our game, you'll want to include the new JavaScript files in the HTML document. Now save all your files and test it in a browser. You'll see a black platform on the stage. We've taken the GameObject class and concluded with a platform object definition. You'll now be able to define a new category of game objects and use a shape to represent it on stage. In the next video, we're going to see how we can define a movable game object that inherits the static game object.